Garrett's Elliot has sent out. He'll be our kind of guy behind the computer today, and he's just sent out a note requesting that for those of you who are not in answer asking questions, if you could please mute your speakers. So we want to welcome you here today. Thank you very much for joining. This is our second session that we're doing on business transformation stories. I encourage you, if you haven't seen the first one, to go to the website in the bottom right corner, launchlabdms.ca, and you can get access to all of our previous webinars. They're all on there for you to check out. We just require you, when you register, you'll get an email from Garrett, and then you'll have access to all of them. So we really appreciate you taking the time today to join us. We have had some really good successes with the Digital Main Street program, more specifically with Future Proof. We have a number of teams. In fact, we have 10 teams right now. Those 10 teams made up of 5 individuals each, with varying areas of expertise, including writing, including digital marketing, UX, UI design, web design, you name it, we've got all those elements covered. So we thought the best way to kind of walk you through, for those of you who are thinking of joining this program, and it is a free program, and if you want to go to that same link that I mentioned below, launchlabdms.ca, you can go in there and see how to register for the Future Proof program for Eastern Ontario. And it is a free program put on by Digital Main Street. Thanks as well to the FedDev, who are the sponsors of this. We thank them very much for that opportunity, as well as Invest Ottawa, partner of Launch Labs, and we are executing this program with Invest Ottawa. They've asked us to run the program for Eastern Ontario, so thanks to them as well. So without further ado, what I'd like to do is first introduce you to the team. If you can get an idea here of who these people are, we're going to talk about 3 programs, so 3 companies we've worked with: Cher-Mer, Century Maple, and Bonville Gardens. So we have with us today Hayden Major. Hayden Major is a graduate of St. Lawrence College. We have Emery Tomasini, who's from Queen's University, and Jake Windover from Loyalist. So this program also has these transformation teams. These are 3 team leaders, 3 out of 10. And they all ideally are coming from Eastern Ontario themselves. So we've got about 75% of the students working with our clients, with these businesses, who come from Eastern Ontario. So with that being said, I'd like to start with Hayden. And Hayden's going to talk to us about Cher-Mer. We're going to kind of focus on just some of the elements. There was a lot. We typically work with up to 3 weeks. A team will work for 3 weeks on a client. And so there's a lot of work that's been done, but we're just going to kind of highlight some of the areas today. We welcome any questions, and we'll be happy to answer as many as we can during this webinar. So I'm going to be interrupting Hayden every once in a while to ask some questions, just to get some additional clarity and insight in terms of how things work with the program and Cher-Mer specifically. So Hayden, I'll pass it over to you now if you want to talk to us about Cher-Mer.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. And thanks for everyone jumping on today. So this is kind of what our overview presentation agenda looks like when we have our final wrap up with our clients. So we talk to our project goals, key accomplishments, and then we dive into each of the aspects that we work into. And at the end, we always build a Google Drive where we kind of house all of our transitional documents to basically what the program says, make it future proof for the client. So we house everything that we talk to in the presentation, plus some resources, some tools from them to kind of be prepared to kind of take whatever we work on further foremost. So one of the key things that we did, our web developers noticed when they first got on with the website here with Cher-Mer was a difficulty with the functionality of the navigation bar on the website. So they were using, like a flyout menu. So the frustrations with that that they found were when you're hovering over, when you have too many tabs on a screen, it has a frustration with the user if they lose their spot or when they're not hovering over it, it doesn't remind them where they're coming from. So it really has a problem with the breadcrumbs on the screen of the customer's journey on the website. So what they had done was they switched over the navigation bar from this layout to a mega menu. So because our client had so many tabs to accommodate both their in-service day spa and as well as their own product line, they went with this style of a navigation bar. It has everything nice and bolded, a larger font, easy to read, and then it also has everything right on hand. So it helps with the back end of things, watching users' journeys, and seeing where they're kind of hovering over buttons, and it gives them the ability to see where they want to go all in one glance. Next, they worked on the main page as a whole. So one big aspect with Chez Mare was they have 2 locations in Kingston that are day spas, but then they also, like I said, have their own product line. So when we first jumped on with them, we created some personas, and personas are an ideal target audience for them. So we came up with a few with their downtown location. They have some students. They also have up in the west end of Kingston, some more suburban parents that want to go get some maintenance done. But then they also have customers from, say, Toronto or further away that are really loyal to their products. So when they come onto this website, there's a bit of a customer confusion. Having the book now, get a gift certificate, they kind of get lost into wanting to buy products, and they might think that they're on the wrong site. So what our web developers did was a little facelift to the main page. They made content specifically targeting the products and then also the services down below. So it's a very distinctive journey for when their audiences and their customers are coming onto the site. They can see exactly where they want to go, and there's no confusion on that part. And then over here in the red box, we also highlighted one of their main streams of revenue right now. Currently with the lockdown, they can't provide any of their in-house services. So they kind of switched gears and they started providing an at-home spa box. So with that being a really kind of their major push right now, we wanted to highlight that, give it some real estate on the main page. That way they have something to kind of keep them rolling.
Yeah, one thing I want to mention, you talked about personas, and one of the things that, every one of these teams, when they work with clients, they talk about who is your target market. Because one thing we want to get away from is thinking that everyone's our target market. There may be a lot of similarities between some of the people you're going after, but it's really important to do, as Hayden said, to define that persona so that we can create content and direct those people to this content. So you really are targeting that individual. So you're seeing here some of the work that we actually go in. We don't just advise. The teams have been going in and actually making these changes to the website.
Yep, and all these changes are live. The banner up at the top was done by a graphic designer, and all the content within the new site with the products and the services were done by our copywriter. And the personas really help as well with not just web work, but also advertising. So when you want to directly advertise someone, some of the students downtown, they're going to be more keen on their Medi and their Pedis, their kind of lower end priced services rather than some moms and dads that are going to go for the higher priced services. So it's nice to have that on hand when you're directing your content. And then lastly, one of the big things with the website was with shipping and delivery and pickup. This wasn't available to customers until the final end of their purchasing. So we wanted to make sure that it was upfront at the very beginning of the customer buying journey. That way that they knew it wasn't just a local provider that do ship internationally. So that one was a big part. And then also with the contact us, because they do have 2 specific locations and obviously addresses and contact information and social platforms for each. We added in that specific information. That way it makes contacting the business of whichever location you're looking to get to a little bit more easier. And then it also takes away from not having to make a general message into the contact form.
Now, is this, if you just go back there for a minute, was this, is this just, is this an online ordering system that they have on their website? Is that what it is?
Yeah, they have the online ordering system. Yep.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Social media. So in the next slide, you'll see these kind of put into place, but they wanted to make some branded content for the client just to keep consistency across all the platforms. Like I said, they do, have Facebook and Instagram specifically for each location. So we wanted to kind of create a strong brand identity and presence across all the platforms to keep consistency, and just it aesthetically just looks nice and pleasing. And then, like I said, we also did a little bit of a facelift to their Instagram page. So they had great graphics and content going on prior, but like I said, just using those colors, those branded colors, just kind of keeps everything nice, clean, simplistic. Being a day spa, we wanted to go with kind of more of an elegant theme. We also changed up the profile photo. It was a little busy on the before, and also the West End location had the same similar one. So we wanted to keep that branding across the board. What we had also done was created a social media ebook that kind of covered all suggested strategies, best practices on platforms, and then we kind of indicated some of the strategy and content strategy over here along the side as well.
Yeah, I think, Hayden, that's an important point, because I imagine when you finished with a client making these changes, they're kind of left going, okay, now what? And so maybe you can just say a few words about what is some of the content that we leave behind to help them out.
Yep. So that kind of goes hand in hand, like I said, with the persona. So going into the back end, knowing how often you want to be posting online. They were already pretty active, so we thought a 3 to 5 posts per week was very achievable. And then the time bubble that you see here was determined because of their backend analytics. So you can go into your backend, you can see your sweet spots of where your audience is active, and you want to have a bit of a buffer on each side of that, so you get the most optimized eyes on your content when you're posting onto your feed. So in the ebook, we kind of dive in on why that's important and where they can go to find that same information that I found to tailor their strategy as they move forward.
Yeah, so it's important here. I think it's really, and you mentioned it, I know, on this next slide as well, about the posting times. So the beauty of some of these things that Hayden's been pointing out and what they look at is they look at your traffic to see when are people reading your information or interested. So then that way you can create these posts and preload them. You don't have to wait and do it at that time, but you can preload them and then have those social posts going out at the times that your audience tends to typically be looking at this content.
And then we did the same thing with Facebook. So each of the locations had their own profiles with a very busy over contrast profile photo. So we rearranged them so that they are the exact same logo as the business and their Instagram pages. We did have a little bit of a run-in with Facebook trying to change one of the pages' names from Chez Mare Canada to their downtown location. So what we did as an alternative, was we got to put the address into the bottom there. So at least Kingston natives, when they're looking for day spas, they'll see Brock Street and they'll know that's a downtown location. And then same with the West End one as well, keeping everything consistent across the board. And then over onto the side here, very similar strategy. Just pointing out a few different terminology changes between Facebook and Instagram's backend, and then content as well, ideation for them.
That's great.
And with content ideation, we also kind of put up what we did, create this content calendar for the client. It's really great to kind of do this in a month or two in advance before you go into the planning and the creating of your content. It gives you a bird's eye view of how you want to scatter out your content. So you want to have some content that's entertaining. You want to have some that's educational. And then also you obviously want to have those promotional aspects. So with this calendar, you're preventing the oversaturation of your audience and draining them out with constantly the same kind of content. And it also gives you some days of rest. So you don't have to be posting every single day. Take those days to take a look in your back end, see what's working, see what's not. And it gives you the ability to change and make some adjustments moving forward.
What kind of tool would you recommend? Are there any tools out there that can help them where they don't have to go in every day to do this, that they can preload it?
Yeah. So with this calendar, we made it on Canva as just like a brainstorming tool. But then once you have this created, you can do this on any calendar, print one off of Google by all means, and kind of jot down some ideas, and then taking these ideas into platforms such as Later, Hootsuite, Buffer, any social media management tool. And then that's where you can go in, preset all your content into whatever days and times that you have into your strategy. And then it's out of sight, out of mind, and it's going out when you have it planned.
Are there some free tools for that, or are they all paid?
No, there's free ones across the board for all the platforms with obviously restrictions upon them. But typically you can get away with a lot with the free platforms, but there is options to go higher with paid groupings. Brand kits. This is something that our graphic designer put together. Brand kits are really good when you're working with other businesses, or just to have on hand to go along with your brand identity. If you're working with different promotions with different businesses, you can hand this off so they have everything that they need that's specific to your business, because our client does have a trademark on their logo. So this ensures consistency with promotion, and then also with internals as well. So they can use these color codes with those graphics that I had shown before to keep consistency across. They already had their specific logo, so we didn't touch anything to do with that. But what we did was introduce kind of the idea of a submark. So taking that circle with the check mark and the leaf to kind of use it in areas that are a little too busy, or too many graphics that don't need the whole logo of Shamir. Using this in the corner of some graphics is really great, just to keep that identity live. And we also introduced some alternate colors just to kind of give it a little bit more substance, using these along with the green and the white to kind of mellow out the boldness of the green and bring alive the idea of the day spa and the relaxation. And then this is another graphic banner that our graphic designer made, similar to the one that was on this slide with our new website.
Yeah, so you get the idea here, folks, about how these team members come in and actually create this content for you, and can leave and base it on what your needs are specifically, and then leave this for you to actually use later on.
And what we did with this one was our client actually had sent all their products to a product photographer in Calgary and got back all of these beautifully photographed products. So we kind of went hand in hand using those, that service that she got, and did something beautiful with it. So she had something to use those product photos towards. And another one for Clear Skin. And then onto copy. So our client had a really great backstory. It was a mother-daughter. They wanted to have their story kind of really brought alive. They had all the little specific areas on their site already, which was great. But with the uplift of design work, our copywriter and web gurus kind of went hand in hand and made it so it was a lot more easier to be, the readability was a lot more easier, and it flowed nicer now. With the contrast, without the contrast of the back colors with the orange and the green. So they kind of elaborated, they beefed it up a little bit more, not tampering it with the core story whatsoever. And then we also made sure to highlight one of their promotional videos at the very top here to kind of go hand in hand with their brand. And then this was the last slide. This is one of the projects that a copywriter started and then provided templates for the client to take on moving forward. We try our best to do everything, but there's always just something that we just can't do fully. So it's really nice to give the client something to look forward towards to work on. And this one was specific to the descriptions of their products. They have so many products on their website, but it was lacking a bit of a description and knowledge towards the products. And with the personas of outside people, you want to have as much education towards these projects as you can online, since you're not there face to face with sales reps or anything like that, to kind of sell your products and why they need them. So our copywriter went ahead, did a few of these, and beefed them up, which adds content obviously to the website, with hand in hand goes really well with your SEO. So search engine optimization. So our copywriter made up a template, and then moving forward, the client was able to keep this going along and to beef up all the rest of their products.
That's great. And, one of the things as well, if you remember what Hayden showed about the story, it was nice to see embedded video in there because YouTube is owned by Google. So your rankings will improve when you're using video. But the other important thing is the number one place people go to on a website is actually about us. So seeing the picture, seeing who the people are behind the company is really important. And our teams really focus on that to make sure that story comes out. We also, at the end of every one of our sessions, when we've completed the program with a client, is we send out a survey just to make sure we're meeting their expectations. And we've been very fortunate to get some really good feedback. And ABBA was able to provide us with this really nice testimonial. I should also mention that we have coming up a video story that we will have done on ABBA and Shermer, as well as a written case study. You can find out all this information if you follow us on whether it be LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, and you'll get all the information, but that'll be coming up soon. So Hayden, thank you very much. It's a great job. Your team did, you and your team did a fantastic job. So we really appreciate it. Okay, thanks. On to our next one. I'd like to introduce Emery. Emery is the team lead that was responsible for working with Century Maple, which is another client out of Eastern Ontario. Thanks, Emery. Maybe you can just kind of walk us through some of the things you've done with this client.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everybody. So Century Maple is a family-run maple farm in McDonald's Corners, just a little bit outside of Lanark, Ontario. And they've had the maple farm for over 5 generations now. And so they just kind of needed just a general understanding of what social media is, how it can best benefit them, get a relationship with their clients and customers, and just a lot of just the basics, a general understanding. So this was our agenda, working with them during our time together. And next slide. And so one of the first things that we noticed was that their logo just felt a little bit outdated. So Janet was interested in a logo revamp, but really wanted to stay strong with the horse and carriage ride, as that is the grandfather of the family. And our graphic designer worked really closely with Janet and was able to add her husband as a father-son, just relationship, and really bring some dimension and modernize the logo, which was a really great addition. And then next slide. And then one of Janet's main concerns was in terms of packaging. They had one sticker for a logo and then another sticker for the product itself. And so she kind of wanted to remove that extra step when it came to packaging. So our graphic designer took the new logo and made product labels for all of her different flavors of maple syrup and other things that they're working on. And so these can be printed in the future for future packaging, and then also a business card for them to have. And then next slide. And then another main goal for Janet was just kind of understanding how to navigate social media across the board. So what times to post, what type of content, how to engage on different platforms, KPIs, which are key performance indicators, learning how paying attention to those and things like that. And so most of these results were pulled from the Facebook Insights, as Hayden and Stephen touched on earlier. And in the next slide, this is kind of an example of what we see when our digital marketer, Jana, was able to get information from the Facebook page and see that the peak time is about 3 to 5 p.m. And so that is when we were able to schedule content specifically around that time. And we also get more information like your content reach. So how many people are seeing your post, and then engagement, how many people are liking and commenting and so forth. So it's a great metrics that we get access to when considering content and strategy and things like that.
Emery, is this something that everybody can get for free? Can they see this information? For where do they find this information?
Yeah, so this is in the Facebook. So I get access to this in your business Facebook Insights account. And so our digital marketer was able to, we asked for permission to get access. And so she's able to go look into the business side with permission of the client, and is able to see this and take a look and what's going on.
Great.
Yeah. Next slide. And then based off of the metrics and the strategy, our UX UI designer and digital marketer went in and created a content calendar just based off some of the ideas. And these have all been scheduled for the month and are currently live. And this is also through later, so that the client doesn't have to worry too much about what's going on, what time, and can all be done at once. And she can just sit back and let the post roll out. Next slide. And then just some social media changes. So their Instagram account, it was kind of bare, just not really familiar with how to navigate it and what kind of content to start putting out. So this is what the Instagram account looks like today. So we went ahead and added more, followed more people, some more people followed back. The bio's been revamped to really highlight the location and highlight the family aspect of it a little bit more. And then we created highlight graphics, the logo, and these are just some examples of some posts that were pushed out in the month of January.
So am I reading this right? So the image on the left shows 0 posts, 4 followers. And since this work's been done, we've got 22 posts and 98 followers. Is that correct?
Yeah,
And
that last screenshot.
That's over what period of time? That's like a month, 2 months? What is that?
2 months. I think we started working with them in November. And so this is now the end of January. So
Right.
Yeah, next slide. And so another main thing that Janet was looking forward to is starting up email marketing and trying to engage with her customers more. And so we got her set up with MailChimp, which has a lot of free features. And I just kind of set her up with some basics. So a pop-up that is currently live on our website. And then when you subscribe, you get a welcome email, just letting you know that we're happy to have you and to stay updated. And all of these are color coded with their logo and codes and links and everything. And then I also created some templates for her because she just didn't have any content yet to put out as they weren't in season. And so I just decided to create some themes with lots of tips and suggestions on how to word those emails. And again, also color coded and things like that. So it builds a promotion template, a shop update and new products, and then any events that they decide to host in the future. This is kind of all set up for them to continue on when they're ready to begin email marketing. So it kind of takes that step away.
So I look at this middle screen and I see hi, test first name, test last name. So without getting too complicated, I think just for people's sakes, how this works is when you have a file with people's names, it'll automatically populate it for you. So it could be hi Emery, or however you want to do it, and then it automatically goes out. You don't have to fill that out. It just pulls that information. And is this a tool we introduced to the client? Like was this a free tool or did they already have this tool?
This was a tool that we introduced. It's called MailChimp. And just like other tools that we introduced, the free features are really good and you can utilize a lot of the free aspect of it. And then in any chance in the future, you can upgrade to more features. But the frees are pretty good with what their needs are. And then it was really good. And for the first and last name, that's kind of one of email marketing's best practices, is to really have the names of your client, make it more personal. So that's why we always include the first and last name. of the client name. Next slide. And then something else that Janet was interested in is she had a blog page up on her website that just had no content. And so she really was interested in having some stories highlighted about the family and the process and things like that, so people get a strong idea of what's going on. And so I did some blog writing on the WordPress page, which has a strong blog building feature. And so she just gave me lots of amazing content about the family and the traditional maple syrup process. I also did some research, just kind of pulling into history of Ontario maple syrup. And next slide. And then I did a walkthrough session with her, kind of explaining how search engine optimization works in terms of blog writing, making sure to utilize the keywords that she wants to focus on, and making sure that, as you can see in the bottom left, that the SEO and the readability scores are in green. That way, it just really helps out her site in search results and how to utilize blogs in this way. And then next slide. And then another big project and goal that we worked on was just kind of revamping the website across the board. She had a GoDaddy site, and we were able to work on her site instead of, contradicting with the GoDaddy developers, and we were able to make a lot of quick changes in our time together. And so something that we noticed is that the header just feels a little bit outdated, and we had a cart, a checkout, and a my account in the top there, and it just kind of seemed a little confusing in terms of UX UI design. And so we added a cart on the bottom right there with the social features, just to make it more simple and easy. And then we also added the new logo, just a better contact information, a tagline that just kind of was a little bit more simple, and then also a banner for announcements because they're not in season. So when they announce that things are opening up again and things that they're working on, they have a little announcement banner there. Next page. And then also something that Janet really wanted to change was the images that were used on the site. The GoDaddy developers were using incorrect images of the maple trees, so we went in and changed that. That was a big deal for her. And then we also changed the font on the site. The one that they had just had a little bit of, it didn't have a strong readability. So we changed the font across the board to make it more consistent with the logo and the family feel. And then we also changed all of the images across the pages to be more relevant to what they're working on, their family, and then also adding alternate text for those who are visually impaired. And so that way that also helps with your search engine optimization. And next slide. And then something that was another very important factor was just kind of setting up her e-commerce page. She already had that plan with the GoDaddy, but nothing was kind of set up for her. So we went ahead and included her products and product listings, making sure that it was just kind of set up and ready for her to go. And then we also connected her Stripe account, and then also got her in contact with an eShipper account so that she's able to sell her products online in the future.
Yeah, so what's important here is we, as part of the Digital Main Street program, there's also the Shop Here component, which enables you to have a Shopify site initiated through the Digital Main Street program for free, built for you. We don't build that. We push people, if they want that first, we recommend you go to the Shop Here. But what we do is after that you've completed that, we will take that and help enhance it and grow it and build it. In this case, they're using WooCommerce, which is another platform, which is fine. They already had that, but we can also go in and enhance it and improve it and enable it so that you can now really start extending your market reach by using e-commerce as a platform to go out to. So this was an example of what we did here. So you can see here on the next page that we got a really nice response from Janet with the work that we've done for her. So we were really thrilled with that as well. And again, as Garrett pointed out, the types of people that are on these teams, you get a real sense of the amount of work and the different things that can be done. So Emery, thank you very much. And thanks to your team as well for doing an outstanding job with this and so many other clients as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, and moving on to our third and last client that we wanted to talk to is welcoming back Jake Windover, who was doing one of the first sessions with us as well with a client. And this one is Bonville Gardens. So Jake, maybe you can talk us through what kind of work you did with this client.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Hello, everyone, and thank you for having me back on. It's good to be back. So just talking about Bonville Gardens. So they are located in Bonville, Ontario. For anyone who may not know where that is, it is near Cornwall. So it is in that area. But again, I'll touch on just a few things that our team worked on and enhanced for our client. So looking at the overview quickly, we'll be talking about some project goals, the website changes that we did, some of the copywriting, social media improvements, graphic design, as well as the content calendar. So if you head on to the next slide. So when we first got Doug and Deb as our client, this is what their homepage looked like on their site. So it was a little bit outdated for the logo. It was a little hard to read as well, their text on their homepage as well due to the image. And then we have made a few changes with the navigation bar, as well as some of the subheadings underneath the homepage image, as you can see to the bottom right. And then so if you switch to the next page, I'll show you some of the changes that were implemented. So because Doug and Deb wanted Soil Science, which is their product, to be really the main focus when someone came to the website, as again, which is the official home of Soil Science, is why it's right front and center there. And they also didn't want Bonville Garden identified twice on their homepage. So they didn't want to have Bonville Garden at the top left corner and then also in the center as well. So just shaking that up a bit so it's not repetitive. And then we also included their nav bar to include their about, just because they didn't really have a very extensive about page. We also updated all their products, which they didn't have as well, or their services page. I won't be going into those pages today, just to kind of keep time short, but we have created those pages as well. And then we also, again, as you can see in the bottom right corner, we have enhanced the 3 subcategories to feature all of their photos that they took, and then to give a little bit more explanation on what they do as a business and some of the services they offer. As well, just to touch on the homepage here, that the photo in the background was actually taken by the client. So just integrating those little key aspects to really make it their own site is, I find, super beneficial, and it does show, you know, Bonville Garden at its finest. You can look at and you can see this is the business, this is what they do. So then if you go to the next slide as well. We actually introduced an e-store to their website. So when we first got the site, they actually had an e-store on a separate website. So it was a little hard for clients to navigate and purchase things online. So what we did, so we integrated the actual e-commerce store onto his own Weebly website. So they didn't have to navigate, again, to a separate website to look at their products. So what we did, we added all of the descriptions, the sizing, added all of the inventory quantities. As well, we did put the share option to Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, as you can see in the little red box there. So clients have the option to share that when they buy a product, you know, share it on Facebook to be like, hey, you know, I just went to Bonville's site. I just checked out their Soil Science outdoor mix. I just bought this. It's a great product. And then it also is a great use of awareness as well for that option to be able to have for customers. And then if you go to the next slide. So in addition to the e-store, so we also created some quick marketing materials for business to business, as well as some labels. So what Doug and Deb actually wanted to do, they wanted to start integrating their products into their local shops. So we created a introduction to Soil Science. So it's just a quick little document of a rundown of what the products are, what they sell, what's actually in their as a breakdown in the graph, just so they can give that to their new business partners and be like, all right, this is Soil Science. Like, what do you think? We want to be in with your business. But again, it was just something that they were looking to do in the future. So we just wanted to get everything prepped and ready for them to be able to use.
And I
And
think what's important here as well is what you probably have gotten as a theme through all these three is they're custom. We don't go in and do the same thing for everybody. We spend time figuring out what is it that you would like and what are the things that are most important to you. And the teams have such skill and flexibility, they can go in and actually work with you to design what you're looking for.
yeah, no, exactly. And then same thing to do with the marketing material. We also created product labels because they did want to redesign all of their product labels to go hand in hand with their new updated appearance for their business. So we did create these so they are able to stick onto their packaging that they're creating for future products, as well as a different variations for each product were also created as well. And then if you go to the next slide, we'll be able to touch on some of their Facebook analytics. So from here, you can actually see that when we first got the client, roughly around October 22nd is when we got into their social media. All of their key performance indicators, so their KPIs, were actually in the red. So it just means that they weren't active on their page. They weren't posting the right content for their target audience. So after working with the client and improving, their logo, adding all of their bio updates, posting a few posts on their site, and then really just overall enhancing the general aspects of their Facebook page. If you move on to the next slide, you'll be able to see the results of that after a 3-week period with the team. So page views were actually up 244%, post reach was up 3,815%, and post engagement was up 2,633%, which is huge and a big growth for them. But again, this is after a 3-week period, and just a few changes. So you don't have to spend hours and hours on your Facebook to get these increases. It's just taking the time to really put what you need in there. Don't over bombard your customers, but really just do keep up to date and keep them engaged. And then if you head to the next slide, this will be the logo refresh. So again, I know I did touch on their logo at the beginning of this. So this is their logo in the left side of what their previous logo was. The team had recreated it just because they were looking for something a little more modern, something that would easily fit on their packaging, super cohesive and easily manageable for sizing purposes. So we did create it as a vector. So it is scalable if they want to create any billboards or any other posters or any additional marketing materials that they may want. The logo is flexible for that. We also created different variations of the logo as well. Just like Hayden touched on, we do have a sub logo for them as well. And then we also did put together a brand kit with all of the new information for them.
Well, Jake, maybe you can tell me, because I mean, you talk to a lot of businesses. I guess the way it works is if you open up the conversation about whether they want a logo change, and I guess if they don't, right? We don't try to force anything upon them.
No. So when we talk to the client, we reach out, we're like, hey, we understand this is your logo. If you love it, we will leave it how it is. But then we also give them the option for us to be able to go and make a few adjustments and little enhancements to just see if they would even prefer that visually, just because for a lot of clients, it's very hard to see visually what a logo could look like until it's done. So having that option to even be like, yeah, let me do one revised version of your logo to see what it looks like and see what you think, is always our option for the client.
Right.
Awesome. And then if you go to the next slide for me, similarly to Hayden and Emery, we also created a content calendar for the client. Again, this is geared specifically to Bonville Garden. So because they are super busy during the day and they don't really have a lot of time to focus on social media in their days, we recommended to post about 2 to 3 times per week. Again, so it's super manageable for them. It's not overbearing for their clients. They're not posting 7 days a week and bombarding their users with just any kind of material. So what we wanted to do, we wanted to plan out an exact kind of hit the ground running. This is what we're going to post. So we have a good idea on what's going to come out for the month. And then again, for future months as well, we provided some templates for that as well. And then if you go to the next slide, these are actually the graphics that the team has created. They are completely customizable. So they are just templates for now, but these are actually the graphics that do go hand in hand with the content calendar that we created for them. So again, these graphics are templates at the end of the final presentation with the client. They do get all these deliverables and all of the links to go and adjust and edit, as well as how-to guides on how to edit if they're not sure. And then we also do leave it open-ended. So if a client has a question, 2 months down the line or a month later, and they're like, hey, Jake, I really don't understand how to do this, we're always more than happy to reach out to them and give them that quick how-to guide or a quick walkthrough. So these are just some of the graphics that we created. And then if you go to the next slide, this actually shows their later account. So just like Stephen was chatting about prior to, it's a scheduling platform. This is actually the free version, which is great. So you can actually upload to, I believe it's 3 social accounts in their free account for later. So what this does, you can go in, say, one Sunday a month, and pre-schedule all of your content for the next month in advance. So again, you go in one day, you do all of the hard work that day, and then you can just sit back and forget about it, and it will automatically post to all of your social channels, which is super great. You can also add in all of the captions in here. And then if you do decide to upgrade your later account, you can also add the geolocation, which is the location tag on where the post is coming from. You can also tag people in the post as well. But again, this is a super great tool, especially if for businesses that are really busy throughout the day and they don't have time to, sit down, 3 days a week and bump out posts for social media. Again, this is something that you can go in one day, schedule everything out, and then send it off and forget about it, which is great. And then the next slide for me. And that's it.
Yeah, so really great, Jake. Thank you very much for that. And again, if you go to our website, you'll see a bunch of the resources that we have available as well for clients that they will be able to use these resources to help them continue on after we've gone, because we want to make sure we've set you up for the future, not just by enhancing and enabling you from a digital perspective, but as well leaving you with the resources that will enable you to go on further. The other thing is, on our website, you will see that we've also provided a list of local businesses that do marketing services of all different stripes to help you and use them for any services you may want to, because you may want to work with somebody locally. So we've got a list here. These are some of the partners that we've got listed on there. And these are also the partners of what we work with. We've set up a steering committee to make sure that all of these partners work with us and are aware of the work that we do for the clients, so that if they have any questions, any of their clients have questions, we work with them and answer those questions. If you go back one slide, you'll see the documents I'm referring to. These are just a sample of some of the pieces that we've created as part of the Digital Main Street program to provide clients with all the steps in terms of how to use pieces for content and how to enhance and continue on the work that we've started. Because we understand the execution is the hardest part of this. So we want to give you the pieces to be able to do it after we've left. So we still have a couple of minutes left. If anybody has any questions, we'd love to. The team is here, and the team would love to answer any questions you might have. Thank you again, Jake, very much for walking through this, as well as Hayden and Emery. Greatly appreciate it. The other thing as well, we are certainly would welcome any other businesses that want to join in and become part of this. We'd be happy to work with you. The way it works, you go in, it's for free. You put in the details in the simple format, in the simple questions that we have for you. What happens then is you get on our list. We will reach out, and then we will set up what we call a discovery session, where teams like Jake's and Hayden's and Emery's will go and talk to you about specifically what you're looking for. And then we provide you with a proposal based on that, just to make sure we're aligned on what your needs are. You can adjust it accordingly, and then we get you to sign that to saying, yep, this is what we've agreed to work on. And then our teams get to work and communicate with you all through the process, so there's no surprises. You're made aware of all the things that are going on through the process. So I don't know if there's any questions that have come in. I don't see any. I see a nice compliment in there. Thank you very much, Marlene. Greatly appreciate that. If there aren't any other questions, I'll give you another minute or two. then one thing for sure is this presentation, this webinar is being recorded, and you can go up and grab it and share it with your friends. We'd be happy for you to do that on behalf of our program. So again, thank you very much for joining us today. Oh, wait, we had a question. I'm unclear about the relationship between Digital Main Street and Launch Lab. Great question. So Launch Lab, that is based out of Kingston, but is responsible for, we are a bunch of entrepreneurs and residents that work with businesses across Eastern Ontario. We are the ones that are executing the program on behalf of Invest Ottawa. So FedDev is the federal body that provided the funding, and they provided a lot of it to Invest Ottawa. Invest Ottawa asked us, because of all the work we do across Eastern Ontario, if we would run the program. So we've been the ones executing this program and running it since day one. So that's the relationship between us. Garrett has put in here a link to Launch Lab if you want to find out more information. That's also a free program that kind of gives you an overview of our ability to go in and help you based on people like ourselves who have, as we say, been there and done that. So the difference between the two programs, this one you've got the experts, and Launch Lab advises but doesn't do, and the transformation team advises and does. So you get 2 for 1 out of that, and they do it for free, which is again amazing. If you think about what the dollar value of this would be if you went and asked an agency to do this. Okay, so thank you very much. We appreciate your time, and thanks again to the teams and Jake, Hayden, and Emery for giving this presentation. Have yourselves a great day and a great weekend, and we look forward to working with you at some point in the future. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.